brought you over here next to where I'm putting the other two in. Showed you that just a little bit ago in the other video. So now you can watch me do these two. The thing is with these two, I can't tip it towards me, so I gotta tip it off to the side. Because there's not enough room with the goat pen being right there. Because the goats, I have goats doing goat antics over here. My female. She's a little bored. She doesn't get quite so bored when the dog's in there, but the dog is in another place at the moment. So, I'll double check, make sure my placement's good here. Yep, you can see me. I'll be right there centered. You can see my post there, and the other one is leaning up right against the fence right here. So, I'm gonna drive those two suckers in, and away you go. Like I said, this post hole pounder is quite heavy. I was able to use it to pound all the posts for this one while the ground was still frozen. So, and this was only meant to be a temporary thing until the spring when I could put in the shed that I've got up now, which we just moved into position. Still needs lifted a little bit and whatnot, and blocking on the one side because I've got the parts for filling in on the bottom are laying on the ground. So I gotta move all that stuff around before I can let the goats into their new space. First I gotta put the pound the posts in. So like I said, this sucker's heavy. I know where this is gonna go. I can adjust it a little bit once I get the pounder on it. But I want to be very careful because this is a lot of weight that ends up above my head. Now when I pounded the other ones in, I didn't know when I was putting them in, but I would prefer to have the posts on the outside. So now when I'm putting these ones in, posts will be on the outside. So that way I can regulate a little better with the goats. I grab the bottom. Do it. Chin height. Then I know I can get it off. And who needs a gym membership when you got farm work? Gyms are great. If I could work out at a gym, I would. But this is more productive and fun for me. Okay, now my fingers are going to do this. I can do this a little bit. Turn it before the test part goes in. I know it's going to go all the way down. Thought I was going to run into a rut. Chin height. Now, I've got several different things to hold this fence in place. This one is, you could probably can't see, but has a wire holding the corners so I could move it as a big unit. It made it a little easier. But when I'm putting it on the fence itself, I've got two things holding these in place. I've got your typical fencing wire, heavy duty ones, and then hose clamps. I like hose clamps. I don't have to fight with them so much, especially when it's cold. Right now I can pretty much fare all right with just using the others, but I always like to reinforce at least 2 points on every post with hose clamps. It helps. But I gotta be patient because otherwise I'll stab myself with a stinking screwdriver. Anyway, so one of the things I'm doing too is I've got those, which are going to raise this up one, because I laid them on their side in here, but they're actually going to stand on end. And then as you can see, they're in there, it's open. I actually have the pieces that came from there. One I've been walking all over for the almost 2 years this sucker's been sitting here, which is this one on the ground. But I've got these ones over here. And since we are not going to be using all of it, because I still want to keep the one side open for the chickens to go in and out. So that way in the wintertime they can still come out and do scratch at the ground and whatnot, because they still do that even in the winter. Things hide underneath the leaves and stuff, and they know exactly how to get to it. Anyway, they will do that, and they'll have the wind block and everything else, so they'll be safe in here. Now, this floor in here, as you can see, is not good. Well, we had to sit in another direction. The dog had dug up the ground, whatnot. So I've got to fill that. Mind you, I've got mounds of dirt here and there, so I'll just scoop it all up and put it in the hole. The other thing I have to do is reinforce the floor. Why on earth would I want to reinforce the floor? Because even though I have livestock guardian dogs, I still need to protect them from things digging from the outside in. So I have fencing for that. Fencing that when I had my friend get it for me, or check it out, we didn't realize how far gone it was. So I'm going to reuse the chain link there and lay it across the floor. And then I'm going to cover that. So it'll be a nice base for the chickens and ducks, and if I choose to stick the goats in here, a nice spot for the goats. Now, if you didn't notice, when I walk into this little bitty building, it's like me height, I'm short. And the only place I really need to duck is the garage door. See? Because, yeah, it's just head height for me. That's one of the reasons why we got to lift it up a little bit. So if somebody else needs to take care of my animals, they can without hitting their head. And these are raised just enough that the boys and stuff will be able to take care of them. It doesn't need to be regulation or anything else like that. This is just a bin, or just a portable kind of unit for the animals to have a safe place that they can stay warm into winter. And the other thing I got to do is we got to put a roof on there. I've got all the steel and stuff, if you didn't notice, in a lot of my videos and stuff, I've got that stuff laying in the back. So this is going to go on the roof. I do have a cap for this as well. It's all salvaged materials. So are my posts that I'm putting in right now. The ones that are currently holding up the pen that the goats are in. My mom actually got me the post for that because the cattle panels were originally hers. So most of my materials that I have are recycled materials. So I like to reuse things. I like to try and stay as green as possible. You know, try it, you know, if it doesn't bother you not to have bright, shiny new, reuse. A lot of it can be cleaned up and polished up and whatever else. I actually have this tin here in the ceiling in my garage, which is the garage attached to the house. Of course, my husband's garage, he used the shinier, or not shinier, but the whiter reclaimed steel. I have this naughty little thing. Look, you're on camera. I call him Lumiere. He right now is being territorial. He's actually one of my sweetest roosters. I can pick him up and carry him around, hold him and everything else. But while I'm out here, he sees me as a threat. I can pick him up. He's he's little. He's a little bitty guy. He also doesn't have spurs yet, so he's not really hurting me. He can beat on you with his wings, but the worst that you're going to get is a few bruises. And as long as you stay on top of trimming those spurs, the most dangerous thing on them is their beak. So, and he's usually pretty good. Anyway, back to pounding and grab my tape measure. So, I'll talk to you later. I'll show you what progress I'm making. Maybe watch me pound a few more posts once I get my tape. See ya.